So I finally have OPENSTEP running on the IBM ThinkPad 560, and in this video I'll show you some step-by-step instructions on how to get all of that installed and up and running. Black hardware is pretty awesome, and so is the operating system that's running on it. So wouldn't it be fun if we could get that to run on some other black hardware? Alright, in order to get this installed, we need a couple of things. Obviously, the ThinkPad itself, the external floppy drive that comes with it, an external CD-ROM. This is a SCSI CD-ROM drive. Anyone will work as long as you have the right adapter card. And I'll put something in the description to provide details on what specific card is needed. OPENSTEP is very finicky with drivers. We need a totally legit copy of OPENSTEP on CD-ROM, as well as at least two floppy disks. One is the boot disk and the other one is the driver disk. And then optionally, there is a CD with certain patches like Y2K and other patches that we're going to install. And potentially a Apple PowerBook. This is a PowerBook G3, and the reason we need this, I will explain to you later. In order to start the installation, we'll fire up the CD drive, and I will put the OPENSTEP CD in there. Sources to the image files I will link down in the description. And then, I hope this is the right one, the boot floppy goes into the floppy drive. And then we are ready to fire up the laptop, and it should boot from the floppy drive. And we use one to install in English, one to prepare to install OPENSTEP. It is now asking for the driver floppy, so we will take out the boot and replace it with the driver one. The reason it has a separate list of device drivers is this is being installed on Intel hardware, and OPENSTEP was built with support for a variety of different display adapters, bus types for data transfer, etc. So there is a big collection of drivers for such machines that it needs access to during the installation. Not needed when NextStep or OPENSTEP is installed on native hardware, since the variations in hardware were virtually non-existent and hardware support was essentially baked into the operating system. It is now time to pick our drivers, and for the first one is for the CD-ROM drive, the one that we need to pick here, and we go to the next page, is the Adaptec PCMCIA driver. That's the one that's compatible with the PCMCIA card that I have installed, so we'll pick this. And next it will be asking for a driver for the hard drive and bus implementation. So this is going to be an IDE. which is on the third page, number 6. At this point, we're not going to load any additional drivers. This does need display drive installed, but we'll do that later once the base operating system is installed, so we continue without for now. It is now trying to probe for all the devices that we told it would have, i.e. the CD-ROM drive and the IDE hard drive, and it found everything as expected. Checking for ATA drive. I'm pretty sure the hard drive has more than 1 GB of capacity, but we can always rectify that later on. And it's now loading the rest of the installation software from CD by the sounds of it. Again, it claims my disk drive is only 1 GB roughly in size, which is not correct. Could be a driver issue, but this is going to be plenty of space. We'll have about 900 megs left after installation, so we'll just continue with this for now. And we'll start the installation. This is going to install a bunch of base files on the drive. This is going to take more than just a few minutes, so we'll speed through this and pick it up again once the GUI portion of the installer starts up. Next, we can choose what additional packages to install. We can get rid of most of the other language packs here. And I think everything else I would probably want to keep. And so I'll proceed with installing the rest of the packages. Now what we're using the PowerBook for is to download and transfer some of the additional drivers that we want, namely the video drivers for the ThinkPad, and the best way to do that is via floppy. So we'll insert that. Has a built-in floppy drive, and it's already formatted correctly, but we want to use macOS standard format, and the reason for that is I've tried MS-DOS format and it does see some of the files, but it doesn't copy over the package contents of the installer properly, and then installation of the drivers actually fails. Best case, you'll only see one of the drivers out of many available, but it won't be the right one. So using that file system guarantees that the package content for the driver installer is going to get transferred correctly. OPENSTEP running on the ThinkPad can read the Macintosh formatted floppies perfectly fine through that external floppy drive. Once the floppy is ready, I'm launching Internet Explorer here to get to the page where the drivers are located, and that page isn't using secure protocol, so it'll open perfectly fine. I have this hooked up to an airport through an Ethernet connection. The airport is joined to my regular wireless network, so it provides the network connection to the PowerBook. I have to make sure I remember the address correctly, which of course I never do. History to the rescue. Now the ones that we're interested in is under released and will be almost towards the bottom. ThinkPad 760 ED, package compressed. Although it says 760 ED, it does contain a driver for the 560 as well, so we will save that file. And I've already done this before. And once the download is complete, which should be quick since it's not that big of a file, ED, we'll copy that over to the floppy. I did download a second one from the beta drivers page, so just in case we might need it, I'll copy that over as well. They're both tiny. And once that is done, we'll simply eject the floppy and move that back over to the ThinkPad. It would help to understand the syntax of those commands a little bit better. So I have changed the current user to root. So let's try to install this again. And you will have to install this as the root or super user, otherwise you'll run into permission problems installing this. And the same will hold true later on for installing the patches that we want to get on the system. Okay, I have seen this crap before. Somehow opening this as root does not properly transmit all the permissions. So what we will try to do is log out. And try to log in as root specifically, which of course, since there is no password enforcement, it does not allow us to easily switch between the accounts. Okay. So a way around that is, and root is set up without a password here, we will simply enforce a password for the default user, me, which will always ask for a password, and so it'll allow us to do user switching. User edit. Of course, need to open it first. Okay, user has no password. Yes, I know, and I'm trying to change this. Now we'll try to log out again, and hopefully this should prompt us with the actual login window. Excellent. And with that, we should be able to install the drivers and the patches properly. Installation completed, so we can quit the installer, and we'll try to configure the correct display adapter, which should give us a better resolution, meaning more screen real estate and color. So I go to the configure app, which is unique to the non-native black hardware implementations, and we will remove the default Trident one and add the IBM ThinkPad 560 driver. Here we go, that is the right one. And we will want 800 by 600. We can shoot for a higher one, but I don't think it's actually going to be capable of running it at this resolution. We can try anyway. Done and save. And then I believe, let's just try to log out and log in again to see if that will have an effect on loading the new drivers. We might have to actually reboot it. Nope. We will have to reboot the system. The startup sequence will still be in black and white, but I believe starting with the login window, it should transition to using the correct display drivers. And we have color and using the entire screen. This is probably still just 800 by 600, since that I believe is the resolution, maximum resolution that the screen can provide, but at least we have a little bit more screen real estate available. So now that we have that sorted, let's install the next element, which is going to be some patches, including the Y2K patch. And then we should have a good base system in place. The image that contains the Y2K and other patches only put a tar file, which is an archive format, on the CD, so we'll actually have to unarchive that first. So we'll use the terminal again for that. We've copied this into our temporary drivers directory on the local hard drive. So this is the one we're interested in, OS 4.2 user patches, so we'll uncompress that. tar minus xf os42. Okay, so that gave us the user patch package, which we'll simply open. Open os42 Mac user patch 4.pkg, and that should open the installer. And again, remember, we'll have to do this as root, otherwise you'll run into permission issues again. Okay, that completes the installation of the patches. This gives us a nice, good base system that we can use to install further software on. I hope this was useful, you learned something, and thank you for watching.